This video is sponsored by RM Risk Management.
Hello Blues fans, welcome to this match preview, taking you through the action that's going to unfold tomorrow night under the lights at St Andrews, a Tuesday clash against Cambridge United in League One. This is coming off the back of our 3-2 loss against Newcastle United, where the team showed fantastic character, didn't they? We went a goal up very early, courtesy of Ethan Ledge, a fantastic celebration from the players and the fans, but then Newcastle hit back with 2 goals of their own before that fantastic Tomoki Iwata strike to make it 2-2. But ultimately, Newcastle's quality shined through in the end, and Joe Willock scored the decisive goal to make it 3-2 in the 82nd minute. But a fantastic performance from Blues nevertheless. I mean, from the fans, from the players, everyone involved. It was a really good advert for Birmingham, and thankfully, it was televised, so a lot of people could see what we're all about and maybe a preview for what could be in store for us in few years down the road. But next up for us is Cambridge United back in League One action, and we are looking to protect our unbeaten League One record at home in terms of not losing a game. And Cambridge, with themselves being bottom of League One, it would be a bit of a typical Blues game for us to lose, wouldn't it? But hopefully we're stopping that kind of trend now, because I think back to the Shrewsbury game where they were bottom of League One and we found that game pretty difficult. But with our good record at home, I'm hoping that we can pull through, just be patient, be calm, even if things don't go our way straight away, just let our football do the talking, and hopefully we will pull through and extend our lead at the top of League One. But in terms of the Cambridge perspective, we spoke to Jules from Under The Abbey Stand podcast to get the lowdown on Cambridge's season so far, what he thinks personally as a fan, and whether they have a chance of staying up or not.
Hi guys, this is Jules from Under The Abbey Stand, Cambridge United podcast. Unfortunately having to be labelled as the podcast of the worst team in League One at the moment, as we sit rock bottom of the league, but hopefully this audio content won't reflect the team's performance on the pitch. I've been asked to give a few answers to some questions for your pod, so here we go. First one, thoughts on the season so far and Garry Monk coming in. I'll take them separately. The season so far has been, the table doesn't lie at this stage, does it? It's been pretty poor, to be honest, throughout the whole season. We went the first 9 fixtures without winning a game. It took us until the 10th game against Wigan at home to finally notch a win. We only got 1 point in those first 9 games, so we managed to give ourselves a pretty unrealistic handicap, even from the off. Given that, though, we did manage to claw ourselves back into the relegation fight. We won 3 games in a week after beating Wigan, which meant that we had a bit of a foothold eventually, but it sort of meant that any poor run was always going to be a bit, let's say, like exacerbated or exaggerated just because of how poorly we'd started. So, we gave ourselves that huge handicap at the start, and it's sort of been the story of our season, really. In those 9 games, we were actually playing a lot of really good stuff. We were getting a bit unlucky. We didn't quite sign a striker that we were after in the summer. That was made quite evident by the club. A lot of injuries. Gary Gardner's a name your fans will know. He hasn't featured for a single minute yet, getting injured constantly. He's been a bit of an enigma, really, so we're still waiting to see him. But that's really told the story of our whole season. So, I think we're currently, as I say this, we're 7 points off safety. Stranger things have happened, but all the teams down there are showing a bit of fight, and I think we're probably showing the least. So, without trying to be too pessimistic, I think it's probably a season too far for us, this one. A lot of things have gone against us, and our signings over the past few windows just haven't been up to standard. So I think, it's been a poor season, and I don't think we've got the life in us to properly turn it around. Monk himself, it's quite a complicated one. It was, after those 9 games, it was pretty surprising that the board stuck by him. And then over Christmas period, we lost 5 out of 5, only scoring 1 goal in that period, including a really damaging loss at home to Bristol Rovers. And the board put out another statement backing him. So they clearly see a lot of promise in the long term for him. But to be honest, he's the second worst manager in our entire history. He's now been at United for nearly a full year. He joined mid-March last year when we were in the shit at the time, and Neil Harris had just up sticks and left us in a bit of a bad spot. And he came in, kept us up, which was all that he was asked to do. This year he had a bit of a sort of blank slate, and we were really excited to see with the summer signings what he could do. As I said, those first few games, you could tell he was trying to impose a really fluid passing style, but he just didn't have the quality to do it. So I think a lot of it's probably not down to him in terms of, as I mentioned, there's a lot of unrest with our director of football and how he's handled the transfer windows. But has to be said, fundamentally, a manager with a win rate of 17%, It's just not good enough. And I think the question is more, is it a contractual thing and that we can get rid of him for free in the summer rather than pay him off now? And for a club like us with our resources, that might just be a better deal and just try and rebuild in League Two. So I really hope it still works out, because there's been flashes of seeing clearly what an experienced coach he is and the style that he's trying to impose, but it's just don't think it was the right fit. How do I think we'll line up on Tuesday night? Really tough to say. I mean, this is obviously the trickiest fixture on the calendar, and I think we'll go and try and stodge it out, really. We got a point at Lincoln on Saturday. It could have been all free, but I don't think we can afford to be expansive in any way in this game, given the amount of quality that Birmingham have got. So I suspect we'd line up with a 5 at the back, which is what we've been doing all season, and 2 defensive midfielders in front of them. Jordan Cousins and Paul Digby will probably occupy those roles. Morrow will be at the heart of defence. I'll come on to him in a sec, because I've got question on that as well. And then we'll probably do Josh Stokes, who's definitely our star man on loan for Bristol City. He's the one player who's got real quality going forward. He's got a great career in him, for sure. Elias Kachunga is a name your fans will know just from the Championship and even the little spells in the Premier League in the past with Huddersfield. And then Ryan Loft up top, who is a bit of a physical presence but maybe lacks a bit of a cutting edge. So yeah, we'll line up with that 5 and just try and make it really stodgy, I think, is the answer. Just try and hold on as long as we can. This isn't a game anyone's expecting anything from, so I think we'll all just come and try and have a good time. Players to watch, I mentioned Stokes there. He's definitely one of the only reasons for being hopeful, is he is a game changer, and we've seen a few times him pull points out of nowhere. He was unfortunately, again, I speak about also Monk being slightly unlucky. He got injured out of nowhere for a couple of months. A really unfortunate one, like really innocuous off the ball thing. Since he's come back, he has definitely been our star man. So definitely Josh Stokes. Beyond that, it's actually honestly quite hard to say. I'm interested to see if Ben Stevenson maybe plays in centre mid, who we just signed from Pompey. He could be interesting. And Don Ballard as well, who we just got on loan from Southampton, who's featured a couple of times but hasn't maybe had a chance. But I'm not sure this is the game to see those guys really flourish. So I would say Stokes is definitely the one to watch. Thoughts on Blues? I mean, you guys have been quite predictably brilliant, I guess. We've not had a chance to actually watch you in action yet, which is another reason to be negative, in that we've still got to play you twice. Hopefully by the last game of the season, you're champions and on the beach, and we can somehow pull off some miraculous great escape. But I think that's a bit hopeful. And yeah, fair play to you. I mean, the figures you can spend and the size of club that you are, we've seen a bunch in League One over the years, even since we've been in League One over the last 4 seasons, with Sunderland, Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, etc., etc. But you guys have clearly got such a good plan going forward, and it's fair to see you guys dominating the league in the way you have been. Morrow is a Cambridge United legend. He came through our academy, and it's been a bit of a homecoming for him. He made his debut with us back in 2004, I think, 2004-05. So there's a whole generation of fans who never really got to see him, and he joined us in January. Oh God, 2 seasons ago now. So it's a couple of years ago, and he was a huge part in helping us towards a first great escape that we've had in League One, when we were 9 points adrift with 8 games to go. And he was a rock at the heart of the defence. He's our captain now. He's a really huge advocate for everything Cambridge United. Still lives in the area. Well, no, I think he actually still lives in Birmingham, but he's got strong ties to the area. And yeah, he's aging a bit, but his performances have been solid, and he's a bit of a rock for us at the heart of defence. So lots of love for Morrow. And finally, score prediction. I mean, mate, to be honest, let's say 4-0 Blues, but it could be anything. This one could be a bit of a tennis score. So enjoy the rest of the season. Enjoy, I suppose, your procession to the title, as I imagine it will be. I'm really looking forward to Tuesday. And yeah, speak to you soon.
So that was Jules there speaking about Cambridge, and it's interesting to hear about Garry Monk being the second worst manager in Cambridge history, because the job he done at Blues for the season, he done a pretty good job, didn't he? Especially under the circumstances as well, because we had points deduction, transfer bans, you name it, he had to kind of deal with it. But he played a very simple 4-4-2 system with us, didn't he? And Michael Morrison being the captain of that team, and also the captain of this Cambridge United team as well. So them two linking up, and Gary Gardner being a Cambridge player, but yet to play a minute for them, which is unfortunate for Gary. But I suppose in this case, with Cambridge United playing what looks like a 3-4-2-1 system, Garry Monk has tinkered a bit with his starting 11, looking to just try and find that right formula to get Cambridge out of trouble. But they remain bottom of the table for now, and I'm going to go for 2-0 victory for Birmingham City in this game, with Alfie May and Willem Willemsen getting the goals. I imagine that there'll be a few changes from that Newcastle game, because you could definitely tell that the players left it all out there, didn't they? So there could be a few tired legs in the camp. So the likes of Alfie May that didn't start the game, Lyndon Dykes, even Ryan Alsop in goal will probably come back into the starting 11. And I suppose that's a good thing about us in League One this season, where we've definitely got those like-for-like changes, and it doesn't decrease the quality that much of the starting 11. So I'm going to go over 2-0 victory for Birmingham to protect our unbeaten home record in the league. And I mean, I suppose if the atmosphere at St Andrews is even 3/4 of what it was at Newcastle, then we'll pull through and get those 3 points. So if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you for all your guys' support during the weekend over the videos that we did documenting the Newcastle game, whether it be the preview or my appearance on TalkSport, Tommy's vlog, and also the podcast after the game as well. Thank you for all your support. It really means a lot to us, and seeing our subscriber count rise, it just goes to show that you guys are enjoying the content, so that ultimately makes us happy. So thank you so much for all your guys' support, and for the rest of the season, keep right on.